But anyway, there's more to the Peggy story. When I first went on the patch, you know, for smoking, one of the things that happens is you have these nightmares. Well, it wasn't a nightmare I had, but I had a dream. It was such a real dream that it was the walk we had when she told me, you know, that we were going to meet other people. And it was like I woke up and I said, oh, not this again. Only this time I didn't call her.
This time you knew what she meant.
Yeah, I knew what she meant. Now, when I came out of the surgery for the colon cancer, I had this, under the thing, I had the same dream again. The only thing is the nurse woke me up, and this is the nurse I hit. No, she woke me up. I mean, you don't wake, my arm just went up and, oh, wow. Ooh, that hurt. But I apologized. But I had the same dream again. So now I said, okay, I think I'm going to go find her. And what the hell, she's got to be, what, 67, 68 years old? Maybe even 69. So anyway, I go looking for St. Agnes High School. And I find the high school, but I don't find much for sight, but I see a link to this place called Classmates. So I read the Classmates. And I go in and I find St. Agnes, so I sign in as being part of the community. And of course I don't see her listed there. And they only knew one of her friends' names. I couldn't find the friend either. But I saw other people on there, right? Yeah, so actually one of them sent me an email. And I answered it, you know. She said my life story sounded so intriguing that she couldn't resist.
Well, I know how she feels.
Yeah.
So, you were talking about when you woke up in the hospital after your surgery in 2008, 2009?
Yeah, it was 2009.
Wasn't it Christmas 2008?
No, Christmas 2009.
Oh, you're right.
I'm always right.
Actually, no, you're not right. That would have made it this past Christmas. It wasn't this past Christmas. It was Christmas 2008. Anyway, it's either here or there. You wake up after having your recurring Peggy dream. You punch out a nurse.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, they wheeled me into a room where I'm going to stay for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they hooked me up to all kinds of stuff. And after a few exciting adventures in the hospital, I got home. One of the things I did is they came in and they asked me where I was. And I thought they were kidding. So the hospital was in Brick, New Jersey, so I told them I was in Brooklyn. So they asked me 3 times. I kept saying Brooklyn until all of a sudden I started to realize maybe they're serious. They want me to tell them Brick. So I finally said Brick, and they stopped asking that question. But then I couldn't stand being in the hospital. I never can stand being in the hospital. So one day I get up and I start walking around in the halls. And the nurse comes up to me and says, what are you doing? So I said, I'm trying to escape. What do you mean you're trying to escape? I said, I want to go down to the emergency room. I want to find a driver from Wall and have him take me home. At which point she went and found 2 other nurses and a doctor, and they put me into bed and put an alarm on me. I had to wait till the doctor actually, what do you call it, released, dismissed. And then one night I wake up from sleeping and I swear I'm in my living room looking at the basement door, but I can't get up and I can't figure out how to get to the basement. So I call home. And my daughter Jennifer's there. So I said, Jennifer, how do I get to the basement door? I can't get there. So now she's convinced I'm crazy. So I said, you better come over here and get me. She said, where are you? I said, I'm in the hospital. And that's the end of that story.
Okay. So, if I can get you back on track. What happened with your Peggy dream? What did this inspire you to do?
Oh, I went looking for in the website for the high school, which I did find, but that gave me a reference to a site called Classmates.com, which I signed up on, and I listed one of the school communities I wanted to be in was St. Agnes Academy, which is a school she went to. I couldn't find her in there, but I did find a few other people. That they emailed me and I emailed them back, and I kind of told them the story of why I was on the site. And they asked if they could help me, or they volunteered to help to see if they could help find her for me. And I declined because I said to myself, well, if I find her, I have no idea what I'm going to do. It got to the point where I even had a contact with a nun who graduated from about 3 years before Peggy did and was a teacher, but not at that high school, who said she had contacts with the alumni and she'd check up and see if she could find out what happened to her. She wrote me back and said they couldn't find any information at all. So I've kind of given up looking.
So, Peggy remains a mystery.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I want to. She might be dead for all I know, you know.
Or she could be really kind of wrinkly now.
Impossible.
So maybe we just remember Peggy as she was.
Yeah, it's easier. I haven't changed. I'm still the same.
So I'm going to throw some things out to you, and I want you to tell me what comes to mind. Tell me about the first Christmas without your mom.
Oh. In order to appreciate this story, you have to be familiar with the movie The Christmas Story. It's a Gene Shepard picture, which is about a little boy who wants a BB gun for Christmas. And in the movie, at the end of the movie, when the family's supposed to be having Christmas dinner, the dogs come and they take their turkeys, or eats the turkey, so they have to go out to a Chinese restaurant. Now, the first Christmas after my mother died, that's when my father took us, the 3 boys.
Now, and this is only really a few days after your mother's passed away, right?
Yeah. She passed away on December 15th. So we go to a Chinese restaurant. And it's not exactly the same thing happened as happened in the movie, but it was so close that when I saw the movie, I was sitting on the sofa, I fell off laughing so hard. I ended up on the floor.
Tell me what beer bottles, cigarettes, and movies means to you.
When I was in high school, well, my father used to drink about 3 quarts of beer a night. And he put all the empty bottles in the basement. So me and Robert would take the bottles back to the deli where he bought the beer, and we'd get a nickel deposit on each bottle. The movies cost us 25 cents to go to. A pack of cigarettes cost us 25 cents. So we'd bring back 10 bottles, and we'd go in to a movie and smoke ourselves to death.
Did your father know what you were doing with his bottles?
No,
Didn't he wonder what happened to the bottles?
I don't think so. He wasn't going to take them back.
Who's Brother Lewis?
Brother Lewis was a biology teacher at St. Francis Prep that my father became friendly with. He was also the coach of the swimming team. He took me under his wing. So was the swimming team. He was also a math teacher. The other thing he did is he ran a club called the Powerboat Squadron. The high school was able to get from the city of New York a police cruising boat, which they donated. Oh, I already said that. But they had a club and was teaching the kids, navigation and various things with dealing with boats on Long Island Sound.
What can you tell me about Camp Alvernia?
Well, I'm part of Brother Lewis too. Back in about 1946, my father bought a boat kit for an 8-foot sailing skiff, which he put the boat together with the help of his three brilliant sons. But there's an expression that the 3 of us had at the time is, and I'm not quite sure what it means, and nobody else did either. You work on a boat, but you can't get in it. What I think it meant was that we would work on the boat, but we could never get in the boat. I think at one point we did get in, but it was when it was floating. The thing did float. He donated it to Camp Alvernia. In the meantime, he had also bought an 18-foot sailboat. It was an Old Town, oh God, I can't remember. It was a very heavy boat. It was not a racing boat at all. And it leaked like a sieve. He donated that to the Camp Alvernia too. And as a result, I got invited for one summer to go to Camp Alvernia at no charge, and my job would be to teach the other kids sailing, which I did. That's the Camp Alvernia story.
What's the tent?
When my father was in college, he had belonged to something like similar to ROTC, and one of the things he had left over from that, he had this, it was an army tent, which we had in our backyard. We used to sit up and play with when we were kids. There was a friend of mine was going camping one time and asked if he could borrow the tent. And I didn't tell my father he asked, or that I gave it to him to borrow. It never came back. And every once in a while I asked where the tent was. Nobody ever told him, except Donnie did it.
What about BB guns?
You really want to ask that one, huh?
I'm asking.
No. Well, me and Robert had a BB gun. And up in the attic, we had a Lionel train layout. What we do is run the trains around the track and get well behind it and see if we can not hit the cars. So we'd shoot the BB guns at the cars.
In the attic?
In the attic, yeah. We didn't break anything except the trains that we hit. The other thing we sometimes used it for was to see if we could shoot birds in the backyard. As far as I know, we never hit a bird. But we did shoot at them. You want to know the water balloons?
Yeah, what's water balloons?
Well, we had a window in the attic, in the front room in the attic, right over our front door. And what we do on Halloween is fill up water balloons with water and wait for the kids to come to the door and drop the balloons on them. Robert, that was Robert's idea.
Tell me about Sunken Meadow with your parents.
I kind of told you part of that, because my mother used to take us out there when she'd have the speedometer disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And we went with her. We went with Elizabeth, Veronica, and all our Jersey cousins. We'd have fun when we went out with her. With my father, it used to be, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that, and whatever else he said. And one of the other favorite expression we have that came out of Sunken Meadow when he took us is, I brought you here to have fun, and by God, you're going to have fun.
And it turns out you did have fun.
No, we had fun. We're coming up with and imitating that statement.
What's Elmer's?
When we had a day off from school, my mother would take us to, Elmer's was a stationery store, and she would take us over there. She'd get potato chips and soda, and would go home and would pig out for the day.
What was your first job?
My first job was with a fruit and vegetable store called Smiling Brothers. That's what they sold, was fruit and vegetables. 90 cents an hour. It was out near Mineola.
How do you win an election?
It's not hard to win an election. The first election I ever won, it was for the position of Republican County Committee person. I went in, it was during the primary, I went into the voting booth and there was no name on that space. So what I did, I opened up the lever that you open and wrote my name in. About a week later, I got a letter from the town telling me I won the election. So I said, this is easy, I can be president. The following year, almost the same thing happened, except this time the position that was open was for the female position. I opened up the same slot and I put in Carla's name. A friend of mine also saw the same thing and put in Carla's name. So Carla got a letter from the town telling me she got 2 votes and won the election. The law has since been changed, and you now need 5 votes to win this election.
Tell me about your kids.
My kids?
Yeah.
Well, Jacqueline is the oldest.
She's probably the nicest too, right? Smartest?
She said that.
I'm just reading from your notes. So Jacqueline's your oldest.
Yeah. Yeah, she is pretty smart. I think she has a master's degree, but I get very confused.
No, she doesn't, but she has other degrees.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you something about. You have to be nice to her. Jacqueline, we sent Jacqueline to Catholic grammar school and Catholic high school. She hated the Catholic high school, and all she wanted to do was send us to the public high school. After a while, I broke down, and we did send her to the public high school. She then wanted to go to the community college. She was in the community college, but she messed up there, and I think you flunked out, right?
I totaled the car and couldn't get to school.
Oh, she totaled a car, that's right. Another great adventure. But anyway, about a year after that, she comes to me and tells me she wants to go to this school called Berkeley. And it's only going to cost me $11,000 a year. It was a 2-year school?
About.
Yeah. So I said no because I didn't have $11,000 to send her. Actually, it'd be $22,000. But she kept it up, and I finally gave in. I said, well, okay, go ahead. So she went to it, and then she surprised the hell out of me because she got all kinds of honors and great marks in the place. Then she wanted to go to Montclair State. And I said, well, if you made it to this one, I don't know if I paid for that or she paid for that.
Jacqueline paid for that.
Oh, I thought maybe she did, yeah. But anyway, she gets a 4-year degree. She said she wants to be a writer. Okay, so be a writer. I don't know what a writer does, except write. But anyway, she ends up at a job with MetLife doing writing. And while she's at MetLife, she writes 2 books. And she publishes the books and actually sells some. One of which she dedicated to me, which I thought was the nicest thing she could have done. I have autographed copies of the books, and I'm willing to sell them for a little bit of an inflated price. They sell on Amazon.com at $9.99. An autographed copy will only cost you $35, plus shipping.
Do you want the ISBN number? The book number?
No, anybody wants to take a look it up at Amazon.com.
Okay. So tell me about your other daughter.
Oh, Jennifer.
That's the one.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer's had a rough time. Jennifer was classified while in school as having learning disabilities. She was in the Catholic grammar school when they did this. The teacher that brought it to our attention was like going against all the rules in the Catholic school, because they cannot handle kids with learning disabilities. So we suggested we put her in a public school, which we did. So she goes to the public school, and the teachers say they want to do some testing on her, so they do the testing, and they decide they want to have a meeting with us with the child study team, which I had no idea what they were talking about. The child study team meeting is a meeting you go into with about 4 people in it. 3 of them, or at least 2 of them are teachers. One is a psychologist, another one is a
Counselor?
counselor or social worker, maybe. And they all know what they're going to say, but you have no idea what they're going to say, and you have no idea how to respond to them. So my immediate reaction is to rebel and say, whatever you want, I don't want to hear it, which I didn't do. That's part of the reason, or probably the reason, that I got myself on the Board of Education. And while I was on the Board of Education, I spent a lot of time with the disabled kids' education law of New Jersey, and I became pretty knowledgeable in it. These kids, most schools would send them on to another school district for their education because it was like one-on-one teaching. I found out which the best ones were, and because I was on the board, I was able to get Jennifer into the better ones, or what I thought were the better ones. She did graduate high school. Jennifer's story goes on a little bit further. One night, she had been in Pennsylvania for the weekend, and she comes home, and she tells me and Carla she wants to talk to us, so we're going to have another family meeting. So we're in the living room in the Montville house, and Jennifer is extremely nervous. You can tell just by looking at her she's nervous. So she announces to us that she's pregnant. My first reaction was not, what the hell did you do? My first reaction was, what are we going to do to fix this? I think what she expected is that we were going to throw her out of the house, because a friend of hers had recently done the same thing and her parents had thrown her out. The one thing we didn't do was throw her out. the next day we were on the phone looking for the Right to Life organization and the Diocese of Patterson, where we were looking for help, as to medical help or else, because we didn't have the money to afford it, and she was no longer on medical insurance. Both organizations were useless. So we went to a family doctor, and we asked him if he could be any help. He said the only thing he could do is send us up to the social worker people there's a Catholic hospital in Denville, New Jersey, which we went to, and the only thing they said to us is we should go to Morristown Hospital in Morristown, which is, I guess you call it a public hospital. We went up there and told them the problem. They sat with Carl, myself, and Jennifer, and never once mentioned the word of abortion, and said, we'll take care of everything. And which they did. They set her up with the doctors. They actually delivered the baby being Ashley. The total bill for that was $15,000. Had to be a C-section. The hospital billed us $1,500. I think it's the state of New Jersey who paid for it. I don't know who paid for it. But we ended up paying them the $1,500 over about a 1.5 year period. Ashley and Jennifer lived with us in Montville for about 5 years. After the 5 years, Jennifer met this guy, Bill McNulty from Pennsylvania, and ended up getting married to him. After she got married, Ashley moved in with her mother and stepfather in Pennsylvania and started in the schools in Pennsylvania. She also was having problems and diagnosed with learning disabilities. Ended up that she had some behavioral problems both at school and at home. It got to the point where Jennifer said they were going to send her to a private school, and I said, you're crazy to send her to a private school, you can't afford it. I said, send her down here, we'll take care of it. If she's living here, we can get her into the Walsh school system. And that's what happened. I think it was 2010?
About 10 years ago.
No, not that long. 2004, 6 years ago, I think. She came down here, we got her into the Walsh school system. She started in 7th grade in the middle school, and she graduated, went on to finish the high school. While in the high school, she was taking the regular course. They wanted to send her to a vocational school, and I said, absolutely not. I said, I don't want to waste the time in vocational school. What I want you to do is give her extra math and English courses. I think you should get more out of that than going to a vocational school. Now, my position on that stayed the same for the first 3 years of high school. In the 4th year of high school, I saw she was having a lot of problems, and I perhaps had made a mistake, so I called the school up. I said, can we still get her into vocational school? And they said, yes, but you'll have to extend a year. So we talked to Ashley, and she said, fine. So she did. She ended up going to vocational school. Graduated from both there and the regular high school. She actually made the dean's list twice in the last 2 years of school. Her, if you want to call it major in the vocational school, is horticulture, which she excels in. She's been looking for a job almost for a year now and has been unable to find one. She wanted to go to college, so we sent her to the community college and told her she could go as long as she could take it. And if she couldn't, if she wanted to quit, she could just say she doesn't want to go anymore, and there would be no questions. She would just stop going. So after about a month up in the community college, you could see that she was having problems, particularly with the math and English courses. And one day she came home and said she just didn't want to go back. So we said, okay. So we went up and we just took her out. And said, well, you have to find a job. And that's when we come back into the part where she can't find a job. There aren't any jobs. Now she's talking about going back again, which I haven't completely written off. I think if we try it, we're going to send her back in the spring of 2011. And if she goes back, she's only going to take one course instead of the 5 that we had to take in the first time she went in. I think if we limit it to 1, maybe she will get through it and see. And then I'd much rather give her every opportunity that she can do, can have to see as far as she can go to do whatever she wants to do. That's...
What about Patrick?
Patrick's the hero.
What?
Patrick drove me crazy. Patrick had some learning disabilities too, but his were relatively minor compared to Jennifer's. he went to community college and he flunked out. Part of the reason he flunked out was that not because, only because of his learning disabilities, he had a girlfriend. And he spent more time with his girlfriend than he did with his going to school.
The stripper?
Well, I don't know if she's a stripper. I think she was bald. But I couldn't stand it. She took him went shopping with her one time so he could buy a truck. The kid had $100 to his name. He went to a Nissan dealer. The Nissan dealer sold him a truck with insurance for his $100. And something like $800 a month loan to pay off the truck. Now, Patrick didn't have a job either and really couldn't find anything. He did get a job at Sears selling shoes. I think he was selling shoes. And he made some of his car payments, but not very many. And a number of occasions, they were going to come and collect this truck. So Carl and I bailed him out. He had also gotten credit cards from places like Macy's and someplace else. And there were constant phone calls because he never paid the bills. I got him a job working at Harvey Bernard, so he did get a little income, but I'd take all the money every time he got a check, and I paid his bills. We finally got everything paid off, and he got his credit rating straightened out, so much so that he was able to buy a house a year ago.
And for this, Patrick's your hero?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I want him to go into the Marines. I called up the Marine recruiting station one time and told him my name was Patrick. I can't stop it. I told him I was interested in enlisting. So he got a number of phone calls from the Marines. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. But he never did join the Marines. I think he would have been better off he did.
Tell me about your grandkids.
Well, I just told you about Ashley.
So
Ashley has a stepbrother. His name is Zachary.
Half-brother.
Half-brother, yeah. He's a very smart kid. Now, Jacqueline, who was the oldest, who was never going to have any kids, now has 2 boys. Chase Weber, the Chase I think is after St. Charles, who was a patron saint of speed, and Weber.
It sounded good with Cavallo.
Weber was her grandfather's last name, and that's why that's named in there. So Chase is named after St. Charles and William Weber. Eamon, the second boy, his name is Eamon Patrick. We don't know who St. Eamon was, other than he was Irish. Patrick, he's named after his uncle Patrick, which is my son Patrick. Patrick has a boy, Ryan. Ryan also is a very smart boy, and a daughter, Sydney. Sydney is now the princess because Ashley was the princess and became the queen when Sydney came. So there are 4, how many? Yeah, 4 grandsons, and 2 granddaughters. I need a few more. The nicest thing about them is it gives me a chance to get even with their parents. You know, you can spoil them to death and you send them home. And you say, but Grandma let me do that. Well, Jacqueline is also an animal freak. She has rescued 2 greyhounds. And even written a book about one. And if you haven't read it, you should read it. She also has rescued 6 cats. She's gotten me involved in this dog rescue, except I don't rescue greyhounds. I can't run as fast as they can. I go more for the English bulldogs because they're nice and slow like me.
Tell me about moving to the shore.
Well, when I was a little kid, my grandfather, I told you this at the beginning of the tape, my grandfather had a house in Belmar. You thought my mind was going. I can remember something.
I know. I'm leaving this in so people can see how argumentative you are. I realize you talked about your grandfather, Burke,
Yeah.
in the beginning.
He was very Irish, you know.
But, that was about 80 years ago. So now we'd like to talk about you moving from Montville to the shore, your retirement.
Yeah, because my entire life I wanted to come back to the ocean. Montville, there is no ocean. It's more in central Jersey. We started planning retirement in 1990. I started with the state of Florida and worked my way up, looking at real estate prices, taxes, and various other things in the different states. I eliminated every one for various reasons. The closest one we came to moving to was South Carolina, and that would have been to Myrtle Beach. But a couple of reasons. One, it was too far, and it was too much money. Taxes were lower than Jersey. Real estate taxes were lower than Jersey, but every other tax you had in there, by the time you got finished, you paid just as much. Looked in North Carolina. In North Carolina, the real estate agent says, I'm going to show you the new section. So we're then looking at the new sections. The houses to me look like they're about 30 years old. I said, they look about 30 years old. She said, how long do you have to be a new person? She said, you're always a new person. If you want to see the old section, I'll show you the old section. That's where the people who were born there are. Then I asked her to show me the Catholic Church. It was about 4 square feet. Then she said, let me show you the Baptist Church. It was about 40 million square feet. And then she explains to me that the whole social life down south is based around the churches. So I said, well, they look like they have a lot more fun in the Baptist church, but I don't go to that church. That's one of the reasons I wrote off North Carolina. Settled on Jersey. We looked in North Jersey, South Jersey, and finally came to the conclusion we're going to buy just as much house for the same amount of money in Jersey than I could in these southern states. The real estate taxes were higher, but you didn't have all the other taxes, like use tax. Place like Maryland, you had a tax on your driver's license. And I'm close to the ocean. And it doesn't snow or rain here.
We'll get a picture.
Once in a while we get a heavy mist.
What's one of your happiest memories from being a kid?
Growing up, not being a kid. Well, that's another thing. One of the things my mother told me, you got to remember though, during her marriage, I think she was miserable probably about 90% of the time. She said the way life works is if you have a happy childhood, and she said she had a very happy childhood, the second half of your life is the unhappy part. I've been pretty lucky is I've had both. I think I was pretty happy as a kid. I mean, a lot of bad things happened, but I was never to the point where I was depressed or felt, The second half I have, oh my God, look at, I got 6 grandkids, I mean, everybody's doing well. I never made my $1 million, but that's okay. The $500,000 will do.
Who's your favorite kid?
You mean of my kids?
Yeah. Your 3 kids, who's your favorite? And don't say Patrick or Jennifer.
I was going to say Patrick. Of course, a boy. He's a boy. I think Jacqueline takes the best care of me of the 3 of them. Although she doesn't know it. She's going to end up having me in her house one day.
What?
And I don't want the shed in the yard. I want a nice room. And I want my meals brought to me.
What do you remember most about your father?
Taking him back and forth between Lincoln Park and Yonkers with his wheelchair and then getting him up and in and out of the house.
Toward the end of his life, do you think you became more accepting of him, or no?
Absolutely not, no. Yeah, I don't think I started to realize just what he had accomplished until about 5 to 10 years after he died.
You mean as a father or as a professional?
No, as a father. I think my mother was 41 when she died. My father, I think, was 40, maybe 46. Here he is, he has 3 teenage boys, and an infant baby girl. And the one thing he did, which I think is remarkable, he kept all four of us together. And I think the result of that, me and my brothers and my sister have been very close almost all our lives. And I think that, I used to think it was because we had a common enemy. But that's not really true. I think we had to get ourselves through whatever we were going through, and we did it ourselves, each one helping the other. So, I mean, those are my brothers and my sister, my best friends.
Do you remember your mother's parents?
Vaguely. I remember my grandpa a little. Grandpa Burke, I remember a little bit. Grandma, a tiny little bit. I think most of my memories of her, though, because of pictures I have of her.
And what about your...
I remember their apartment in Jersey City. It was on Magnolia Avenue.
And that's where your mother grew up?
I think so.
Tell me about your mother's sister.
Veronica? Veronica was the greatest aunt you could ever have. I mean, she took care of us, she took care of my mother. We would visit her in Jersey City. We'd bring the kids over. It was always good to see the kids. Both her and Uncle Tom treated the kids well. They always fed us. Always made sure we were doing okay. When they moved to Belmar, every time we came down to Belmar, we'd go visit them. It'd be the same thing. It was always a pleasure to go there. Except for the sign that Uncle Tom had that says, "Beware of the dog." And of course, we go looking for the dog. There was no dog.
Tell me about Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom was our hero. One of the reasons he was the hero is he worked for Drake's, and we loved Drake's. I'm kind of sorry that they don't. His kids didn't do an interview of him. He had some very interesting stories, particularly during World War II. He didn't fight in World War II. He worked on the railroad, mostly in New Jersey, and he had some interesting stories about. I can't even remember them all. But if you would get him talking, he wouldn't stop. Remember one time, me and Clover drove him out to Long Island to Robert's house. And on the way back, he had started talking from the minute we left Robert's house, and it's about a 2-hour ride back to Jersey. He didn't stop, and we got close to home. He wanted to take us for ice cream, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I said, no, I don't want any ice cream. So we came home. But he was very generous to a fault. When I came down here, he introduced me to all the politicians, some of which have been helpful for various things I've asked to have done, and others just, they make you feel good to know.
Tell me about the Shillelaghs.
Shillelaghs is a men's organization. It's called the Friendly Sons of the Shillelaghs. It's like a brotherhood. It's a place where everybody they take care of their own. For example, they knew we had Ashley living with us, and there were a couple of times that people in there came up and asked if I needed any financial help, and if I had said yes, they would have given it to me. When I was sick, it was the same thing. You need anything, just tell us. It's also a bar, and I used to love my beer. I still love the beer, except I can't drink it. But I do have a doctor that told me I could have Jameson's, which is an Irish whiskey. I go down there every Friday afternoon, almost every Friday. I don't have to tell the bartender when I want. He says to me, "You want your medication today?" And I say yes, and he pours me a shot of Jameson's. I actually think it's a double shot. But I went to a neurologist because I don't know if you noticed it when we've been on here, but my left hand shakes a little bit. And the doctor asked me one time if it shook if I took the Jameson's. I said, I never noticed. He said, well, next time you do it, check your hand. So I come home and I tell Carl I have to go down to Shillelaghs. I got to check my hand. So I get the shot of the Jameson's. I look at my hand, it's still shaking. He says, what the hell? I said, give me another one. So I take a second shot. My hand still shakes. but I'm getting a little dizzy, and I go to stand up, and I just about fell down. So my one-shot limit has stood ever since then. The second shot I'm afraid to take.
So tell me about your in-laws. Did they finally accept you?
My in-laws?
Your in-laws, your mother-in-law and your father-in-law, after the big meeting.
Oh yeah, my father-in-law. Yeah, I got along great with my father-in-law. I think he was a cool guy. He was really nice. He was really good. My mother-in-law, I don't think she disliked me. She wasn't particularly fond of me, but she used to be very nice to me. But I drove her crazy. I drove a lot of people crazy. It's part of my point of view on life is, you know, I see, or I usually see humor in almost everything that happens, good, bad, or indifferent. And I can't help making a comment or what I think is a human's comment about it. And I think that aggravates a lot of people. I think she's one of the people that got aggravated by that. Well, I do that.
Tell me about your brother-in-law.
Bill Weber?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you too much. When I first met him, I think he kind of intimidated me. The reason being, he was a graduate of Kings Point, which was a Merchant Marine Academy, the federal one. And here I was Air Force second class, I think, when I met him. Well, no, I think I was second class. So, I mean, I kind of looked at him and said, oh, wow, you know, that's something I wanted to be, and I didn't make it. He was very good to me, very good to his sister. There was one point, a couple of things he did on Carla's birthday. He'd always come up with this, what I would think was an extravagant birthday present, which I think one year he gave her a dishwasher, and another year he gave her something similar, you know, a big thing like that. So I said something to him about it, you know, and said, you know, I can't do that, and that kind of makes me feel bad. And his reaction was, well, you shouldn't feel bad, which took me a while to realize that I shouldn't feel. He could afford it, right? And he was generous enough to do it. I should have kept my mouth shut. One of the things he gave us, and you don't even know all this stuff, a pinball machine. We had that in Montville, a pinball, I mean, very expensive item. I mean, we played the hell out of it, and we didn't have to put quarters in it. It finally broke, but we couldn't find anybody to fix it. In Lincoln Park, I had done some maintenance on the house, and I'm certainly not a carpenter. I put in a tile floor in the bathroom, and it's the most crooked floor you ever wanted to see. I attempted to replace the faucets on the bathtub, and soldering some of the pipes. I set the wall on fire. In the girls' room, Jacqueline and Jennifer both had a room. I put paneling up on there. That just came out bulgy. It came out straight, but it was bulgy from the walls. I didn't put the furring strips in correctly. The ceiling was even worse. I didn't put those furring strips. It was the bounciest looking ceiling you ever wanted to see. But it got done. And we sold that house. Oh, I gotta tell you about the Lincoln Park house. When we bought it, I bought 3 houses in my life. The Lincoln Park house, I knew when we drove into the driveway that we were going to buy the house, just from the looks of the house. When we sold it, we had a hard time selling it. I think we paid $30,000 for that house. Or was it $27,900, something like that. We put it on the market for $80,000, and of course we had a hard time. We had bought the mutt. We had decided to put it on the market like June 15th, and we were moving into the Montville house July 1st, and we couldn't sell the Lincoln Park house fast enough. So the real estate agent, and this probably was a mistake, who was trying to sell it for us, told us she'd like to rent it until she got it sold. Now, if I didn't do that, if I didn't rent it to her, I would have had to pay the taxes and maintenance and utilities on both houses, and no way I could afford it at that time. So we rented it to her. And we finally sold it for, I think we sold it for $85,000. The Montville house we paid $124,000. Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth $750,000 now. It had above ground swimming pool in it, and that's what I like. But I pulled into that driveway, and as soon as I did that, I was ready to sign the papers on that house. I like that house. I didn't do as much, alterations as I did in Lincoln Park, so I didn't do as much damage. The pool, well, maintaining the pool, I thought was fun. Nobody else thought it was fun, so nobody else did it. I thought the kids enjoyed the pool, but they just didn't use it. I used it almost every night. But it finally fell apart. It had to be 15, 20 years old, and it fell apart. And the way we got rid of it, it was a metal pool where it had a 12 by probably 20 wooden redwood deck on about a third of it or a quarter of it. We didn't want to have to have to dump it. So there's a neighbor next door who was in like the landscaping business, and he said, for $80 I'll get rid of it for you. So what he did is he dug a big hole in the yard and buried it. When we left the house, it was still there.
So tell me about Carla.
Well, she's put up with my nonsense for a long time. What is it? I don't know how many years. You know what? One of the things.
45.
Not 45.
It's 45.
64 for 100 is 46. 64.
You were married in 1964.
I know. So 6.
I'm 44 years old. You were married the year before I was born. 45
Well,
years.
this year is 46 years. That's why you
This
got me,
year will be 46
That's why you
years.
got me confused.
November 26th or 28th.
You all just had it after Thanksgiving, which would be a problem. But I'm ready for any one of the three.
Well, tell me about Carla.
Oh, I was about to. One of the things I like to tell her every once in a while, because it cheers her right up, I've only made 2 mistakes in my life.
Oh, here we go.
I enlisted in the Air Force, and I got married. Now, after she throws the frying pan at me, I say, well, how can that be? I wouldn't have gotten married if I hadn't enlisted in the Air Force, so probably the smartest decision I ever made was to enlist in the Air Force. And the second smartest is marrying her.
But didn't you just say those are the 2 mistakes you told her that you made?
Yeah, I do that as a joke.
Oh, I see.
Are you taking that serious?
But one never knows.
I could say my third was having a kid.
Where's the frying pan? What's she like? Is she smart? Is she nice? Is she mean? Carla.
Oh no, she's very nice. She's very patient. People tell us she's a saint, and I have to agree with them. I mean, I'm not a grouch at all. I don't complain. I'm very easy to get along with. Is my nose growing? People can't see. You're not on the camera. She's shaking her head yes.
So, if you had to give advice to your grandchildren, what would it be? Life advice.
Study. Part of my problem is I didn't study enough. And I guess to your kids, and even to even to you, Jennifer and Patrick, I said, be thankful you had your mother for so long. You don't know what you missed until you hit about 30 or 35. That would have been a different life. Although I can say one thing, and this is probably what I'm going to end this with. There's one thing I can say that I don't think I've ever intentionally ever hurt anybody. Whatever I've done, there's very little I would not do all over again and do it all the same way. I've been very lucky. For the most part, I've been lucky. I mean, everybody's had bad things that happen to them, but I mean, look what I have. I don't have $1 million, but I have, what, 3 kids? I gotta say this right. Two son-in-laws and 1 daughter-in-law and 6 grandchildren. I mean, how much I'd have that than $1 million? Now, am I supposed to sing something?
I wish you wouldn't.
So does everybody else who's watching this.
Well, let me ask you to describe 3 more people. And then I think that's it, unless you have more. But describe each of your siblings.
I'm trying to figure out what the word meant.
Your brothers and your sister.
Oh. Robert, I think, I hate to say it this way, I'm probably the closest to Robert than any of them. Because Robert and I have done some things together that I wouldn't even tell you about. He knows what they are, and I know what they are. Well, he's got more tape over there, he's telling me. No, I certainly wouldn't tell you about that. You know, he can tell you. He can tell his kids. Or you can call him up and tell him you want to come out and interview him.
All right.
No, I'm serious.
We'll interview him.
But we got into a lot of trouble together. We got out of a lot of trouble together. But a big support. Donald the same way. One thing about them, and I'll say this about Donald and Mary. One of the things when Jennifer had come home and told us she was pregnant, right? Both Donald and Mary, well, I saw this conversation off a little strangely to them. Mary caught on right away, Donald didn't. I said, first of all, Mary, nobody died. So then she says to me, who's pregnant? That's what she said. So I said, Ashley. Then I asked, oh God. Jennifer. And she says, oh, what are you going to do? I said, how the hell do I know what I'm going to do? I said, but we'll get done. And it got done, you know. But anytime you wanted something, you know, all you had to do was ask them. Sometimes you didn't have to ask them to do it. Do I have a favorite? Not really. I can't stand any of them. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, it's on tape.
Huh?
It's on tape.
I know, but Al can edit it.
For the man who went away, I came home for the food that filled my past. We'll have potatoes, 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 more than fried potatoes, potatoes, enough to make you cry. Potatoes, 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 piled high, potatoes with whiskey on.
Now, I want all you people to know I'm sitting in front of this fireplace, 80 degrees outside. Right here, and I have an electric blanket here and another blanket, and I have this shirt. They told me I had to wear this costume. I had all this good makeup on before we started, but I could swear so much you could probably see it hanging down my face.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap? I don't hear any applause.
Came home to my little ones, they were full of fear. Sat down to eat, clean out my ear. The missus came out with a stewed tomato. No thanks, Carlene, I'll have a potato.